I thank the guy for saving me, saving my life. I said, Chuck is now in, all is good. How are you? How was this?
I'm good. I was good. So what's up? I'm fine.
Cool.
Moving along.
Cool. The charity event tomorrow?
Um, I, I'm not sure which one you're talking about.
I don't know either. I'm going to 3 tomorrow. So
Yeah, I've been asking a few things like that. I was asking them to do some stuff. The guys at Bio Accelerator were they helped out my shoulders.
right.
Now I'm still working out. Stem cell stuff is great for him. So yeah, they asked me, oh sure, I'll be a while back. Then I got a bunch of people like, you got there. But you are the reason I came to here. And the only reason I came to here.
And I've told Matt.
I was going to be earlier, but Southwest
airlines are airlines. Airlines.
That we actually loaded on a whole plane. I was worried because they got us off the plane. Unfortunately, they said we're going to have to take you off the plane. Really waiting for it. But they had that one ready right away.
So there's good news and bad news with you coming out here to see us. I've been well, I guess I'll let it out of the bag. I was going to fire Matt a long time ago.
That's true.
But and he has been fired 3 times. And
yeah. Well, I just don't go anywhere. I don't leave.
I can't get rid of him. But I decided I was going to let him go a couple weeks ago. And then I said, you know what? He does this ice bath thing. That's all he talks about.
That's all I do.
So I told myself, I can't fire him until at least he gets to talk to you about the ice bath. Yeah. So tell us the story about it.
Okay, ice bath. I always start doing ice baths, actually. They're awesome. It's really cool when you get it done and have it. So, as soon as I fill my tub up, put a bunch of ice, put it in and get it out. And empty it, and the next day you do the same thing all over again. Pretty safe. I want to do it twice a day, but sometimes, But anyway. But it started with, I was doing an Olympic fighter. Right? Yeah. We were the first Olympic fighter we had insurance, so they took us to go get us all checked out for something. And I tore my MCLs quite a few times. And so they were talking about doing surgery on both knees. And I went into Colonel Joe. And they went and said, you know what? 5 years ago, we had done surgery on both knees. But, it's about 50-50 if it doesn't really get better. So what I really prefer is to base both knees. And I just ice them out when we work out,
right.
Ice them out before you go to bed. Yeah. And see how you perform, how it goes. And it's really getting better. And so I did that for a while. I started working. And at that point, I'd shot my shoulders up. Those were up 3 times in the spot twice. Because when they rub, I had to hit on my shoulder, it rubs. So when I elevate training for a fight, my fight, I'm like warm it up so I could pass the doctor, hold my hand up. So I'm like, I work my knees and I work so much. So now I'm sitting there with 4 packs of them. And I don't really why don't you just do an ice bath? What is that? I'm trying. So I'm icing, my both shoulders and both knees. And so I started doing it, and all of a sudden, it just it helped everything. I mean, for me, it helped everything. I am on a long term. So if you're taking care of it every day, everybody's back every day by training.
So what I do is I hooked up mine the same way you have ice barrel. I hooked it up to I have an inline filter that comes out the bottom through the nozzle. I filter the water. I pump it into an aquarium chiller. I set the temperature. Then I pump it back in, and I add liquid chlorine and mineral stick. It's always sanitary. It's always pumped. It's never drained. It always keeps cycling. And then I take the lid off, disconnect the power source, jump in, do my 5 minutes, come out, mentally focus, dopamine spike. I get the best start to my day. Like the inflammation reduction, the joint pain, it is the greatest thing I've ever done.
Yeah, and I think that the inflammation thing, the thing is doing it on a regular basis, doing it every day. Just training, you do things and walking around, even when I'm running around, you get little mates and knacks, right? Yeah. And if you're always recovering those, it's okay. Like I shot my shoulder as well 3 times as well, twice before that. That was 2004. I didn't shoot it like again the rest of my career. After I started doing, I said cortisone shots just to get the swelling down.
I'm trying to get Randy to do it. Like,
oh yeah. So how do we get? What are we gonna do to get you to do it?
Well, what I've always said is,
the Iceman speak.
He can't motivate me to do anything. All right. As soon as he opens his mouth, I close my ears. It's like the Miz. When his mouth talks, my ears shut. Just tell me to do it. I'll come. I won't do it with him. I won't do it in his. I'll come to yours. I'll do anything with. I ain't doing nothing with him.
And I saw on your Instagram you have the song as well, the infrared song. So the good, the heat, and cold. Yeah, that's the magic. That's the secret. It's just like
they said that. I can't wait. But I used to do that. I get up in the morning and do it, ice bath, and then I go jump in my other front. I can stretch a little bit before I go to the train.
Yeah.
So then at the end of the night, before I just do it.
Why do people not want to do it? I mean, I don't have a problem doing it. I just have a problem doing it with men.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
You don't have to get the barrel with.
Well,
you do it yourself.
No, I understand that. Why do people not want to do it? I mean, football players, wrestlers, have been doing it forever.
A lot of people just don't like that. You do it all the time. You're doing it forever. No, it's not.
Yeah.
Every time I go anywhere, I try to make an excuse. It's one of the only things in my life I really try to make excuses not to go in. I always say my trick for it is I start my timer whatever time I want to do plus 10 seconds.
Yeah.
So once I hit start, I gotta be in there before it's submerged by 10 seconds.
Because you have to overcome that fear and that anxiety because you know it sucks.
That countdown helps. Okay, I can count down. Now I gotta go.
So when you overcome that, the sense of relaxation, the mental focus, the clarity,
and really once you get it's that first initial and then you're okay.
What do you do while you're in there? I mean, do you listen to music? Do you watch TV? Or do you just concentrate?
I've done all sorts of stuff. I do like guided meditation stuff sometimes. Usually just every day just taking some time off.
I guess my wife's a nurse. I'm old, fat, out of shape, all that kind of stuff. I think her thought is, what's going to shock a heart to maybe stop?
So you have that risk.
You have that risk.
But here's the thing.
That might keep me up.
But you know what? With the aquarium show, the way I have it set up, you can set the temperature. So you can start at a moderate 50 degrees. You work your way up to the top, to 45, down to 30. And then if the ambient temperature outside the barrel is too warm, like let's say we're in Florida, so it never really gets that cold, then you go and mash the bucket of ice on top. So you get the sound and that sensation of the ice floating around your neck. That's what we do at Kill Midnight, and all the shelter guys, they'll come to the place, the restaurant that I have, and we all do the cold plunge. We do it together, like one at a time, and it's the camaraderie and the brotherhood, and it's like living better life for the people.
What else do you do? Other than the ice bath, do you do other things just to stay in shape, to stay
I do all sorts. I still like the bag. I still like hitting mitts, bag, or jiu-jitsu is my favorite ways to work out. I still lift. That's one thing I like lifting, so I it's a little different now. A little more just staying. I'm more. So I like to be strong and
sure,
and in different positions, and also just being flexible and I'm just trying to get back to being staying active. Yeah, I'm gonna be able to chase my son. It's getting harder and harder
to catch.
Harder to catch.
Have you talked to Glover? I know he's a really good friend of yours. Have you talked to him? What did you think watching?
I haven't had a long talk with him. I haven't had a chance to yet. I told him today. I love the guy. He's a great guy. He got the way he wanted to. It's tough. It's hard. It's hard. I was hard watching. I was talking to John about it. I was talking about how hard it was to watch. To let him go that last round, and I tried to stop it. Worse, even more than he did. It's hard. It's hard to watch. I'm on the other side where, I'm glad, he didn't end up getting hurt. So I was worried too. I was kind of glad. He's so tough. But stopping the fight for me, if he didn't have a shot of winning, he still, in that fifth round, he still had a chance. Same thing guys out doing this stuff. If he needs to knock him out, that's all he has to knock out. He's throwing pillows at the guy. There's nothing left. He doesn't even take anymore. And I'm really taller, I got my guys. But I don't, like this is I'm watching.
Right.
I'm trying to live. It's tough. It's a tough call for somebody. got a shotgun, still have a shotgun and stuff. And he's a lot like I was.
Sure.
Like as far as he loves stuff like he loved being out there. That was his job.
How difficult of a job being in the corner? John, like you said, and he's talked about, he tried to stop it. If you remember Deontay Wilder's corner, who was a former Olympic champion, a former professional boxing world champion, when he went to throw it in, he got fired. That's what they're there for. So, that what do you do? What can't you do?
It's tough. I mean, that's what the hard thing is. A lot of guys, a lot of slides just corners got the friends, so some of the corners are friends, and they look up to them. Your heroes out there, you don't want those out there. You can still find the books over there. You still put them out. So it's hard. I mean, it's a hard situation to be in. But yeah, you have to kind of
Another.
It's hard to watch. Some of these guys, all the shirt throws down, that should have been stopped. Then I go back and see the bunch of fights where that should have been stopped and he came back and won.
Right. Sure, no, absolutely.
I mean, if you thought this fight should have been stopped, well, then this one definitely should have been stopped, and he came back and won. So it's gonna.
And that's what we love about the sport, that you can be Leon Edwards down 47 points or more, and I'm just throwing numbers out, and throw that head kick and become, the champion.
Make one mistake, you still got the staff. I was just trained for that. That's why I used to say I trained with cardio. I wanted to have enough explosive power at the end of 5 rounds. I could lose 4 rounds and 4.5 minutes the last round and still not count. So I'm dangerous for 5 rounds.
Green Zombie, 1 second left.
It's like, as long as you see those fights, I see guys like they're still snapping at the end of the fight. Hey, they still have a shot. I although I'm going to scream over you while talking to you. I'm only talking about some of that underhooks, head positions. Underhooks, head positions. You don't want some of that.
I've always said you guys are fighters. You guys know what you're doing going in there. You're fighters. Stopping it early, but it's a fine line.
Yeah, and I think that as a referee, I referee stop it. That's even harder.
Yeah.
I think two better like career. One of them like that. Someone thought I stopped it too early. Like half the clip started, I was just moving the other half thought I stopped it too late. I'm like,
Right, you can't
this guy's making forget the fight for $100. I'm not. He's losing. He's gonna lose. I stopped it because he's taking it. He's not gonna be taking it. That's dangerous. But then when you earn your way up to be the title shot or beat the title shot, so it's a big business. Like fighter. I really think it's you got to let a guy try to fight his way out of something.
Yeah, I agree. I think there was way too many early stoppages. In the protocol of fighter safety and the site fighter safety in the NFL, protecting the quarterback and not hitting the head. So I think there's way more early stoppages. Where fights could still go on. And maybe back in your era, they did go on, and guys won when they didn't look like they could.
And so it's hard, but I think that's where having a quarter and they can make that determination. He's still in the fight. That's part of it. Known for coming back out. He's still not that. He's like Ken Henderson. He's known for taking a beating and being able to attack it.
Like Liddell. Like, he didn't start fighting until he got beat up.
You talked about Glover going out the way he wanted to. Last weekend, you were out at Bellator, the Fedor fight, and it kind of the same thing.
Yeah, it was cool to be out there. I used to always mess with mine. I used to tap over when I was there. He could be 2 o'clock. I don't know if you remember it. That's why he said something in a joke.
That legendary photo. That photo is probably the greatest photo of all time. What was it like being in there with everybody else?
I mean, it's cool. I mean, they're all friends. I know all those guys, see them all the time, see them around all the time. I see them there. All good dudes. All fun to hang out. So it was cool. It's cool to be there.
What's the TV show I always talk about?
The Special Forces.
Have you seen that show, and would you go do it?
I have not seen it.
They take celebrities and basically I don't even know where it goes to, and it's Special Forces. The only part I don't like about it is they put a hood over you, like you're a prisoner of war, and then take you into this room and they talk to you and grill you and find out why are you there and what are your issues and seeing what is your breaking point. And the thing that I don't like about this show is there are no fighters. There are no combat fighters on this who I think have a better breaking point kind of thing than a basketball player or an actress.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. That'd be interesting. Yeah, I mean, I've heard they want to do some sort of, but it's not something. You guys go out and take it a beat. I mean, that people a lot of money to go out and take that kind of a beat. I'm not sure.
There's some crazy stuff.
Jumping out of airplanes, rappelling off of like water towers.
I think all that stuff I think was cool. I think offered me that when I was 30.
Right.
I would have jumped at it. I would probably come for free.
But you wouldn't do it now?
I don't know if I do it now. I don't need to
Well, it's not. Yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily getting beat up, but it's some crazy
I haven't
stuff.
seen it, so I can't really talk to it.
Right. Well,
It's cool stuff. I mean, that's cool stuff, though. I mean, get in shape. Maybe I don't do that. Go jump out. That's
they put you in a car. They drop the car in the ocean, and then you have 20 seconds. You have to keep your hand on the steering wheel, and then you swim up. And it's kind of just like the ice bath thing. It's more, I think, mental.
Fear, yeah, coming adversity, being tested, pushing your boundaries.
I don't have a lot of fear of heights. I feel like I have a weird thing about being comfortable when I'm in a situation where I know that I'm not.
Right.
That's right. Right now, I got a stunt driver taking me around right. They're not doing that. They're not doing anything. They're not pushing limits on this. Jumping out of an airplane with a guy. The guys that jump out of an airplane, so that's the one. If it messed up on my diet, it was probably meant to be.
Yeah, right.
It was my time. I just caught it right there.
And that's how I talk about boot camp when I went through boot camp, where they try to get in your head and they find something in your locker. It's like, it's all a joke. They're not going to hurt you. So you just laugh your way through it, which is what I did.
So Randy was going to jump out of an airplane, a perfectly good plane with Greg Jackson.
For no reason.
Greg Jackson went and jumped out of the airplane. By the time we got to do Randy, the wind conditions had changed. He didn't get that opportunity. So I think we should get together. We do
I'm never jumping out of a plane. I tried.
Into an ice barrel. Straight out of the plane into the
An
ice barrel.
Can we pull it off?
I think so.
Yeah.
We'll make a TV show out of it.
You have not using yours, but you guys have a better chance of getting me in the ice bucket than ever jumping out of a plane now. I attempted it. I got over that quote unquote fear. I went to do it. Now, I will tell you this. Greg Jackson told me after how sick he got, that it was really bad, and he twisted around, and he's jumped before. I said, well, I'm glad the wind's changed, and I'm never going to attempt it again. I was suited up.
Was that your side? Got that side?
Yep.
I'm not supposed to do it. Thank you. I'll listen.
So what out there is something that could still challenge you, that would challenge you to do whatever?
How do we do that?
Could just be bowling. I mean,
I don't know. I like doing a lot of different stuff. So I get out and that's what I'm having a good time doing stuff. With my kids, trying to raise them. Have fun with them, get them to do stuff. That's all I got.
I normally don't talk fighting, with you, UFC, MMA, and we really have never done that. But what upcoming fights, if any, are there any that interest you?
What's coming up?
The big one set tomorrow.
Saturday.
Well, a couple days ago.
That one just seemed like it's too big a wrestler. I mean, when you're fighting, you want to up a weight against a bigger wrestler.
Yep.
And especially at the lighter weights where they're not. He's not a big power puncher. People knock him out, but he's not a big power puncher. I mean, I know him. I
right.
Fight. But so I mean, and you're fighting a wrestler. I mean, it's a strong wrestler and a good. A strong wrestler, and you're giving out the weight.
Yep.
At that size, 10 pounds. And it's just. I mean, I just don't. I don't think you get past that. We'll see. Maybe you can stop the takedown and keep moving and going and do safe.
I've always thought if they're pretty close, I mean, this is common sense. If they're pretty close, always go with the guy that's the bigger guy, the heavier guy. I would think.
The bigger, strong. Okay. Well, the size doesn't matter. Well, all things being equal, bigger, stronger, faster, smaller.
Right.
Right. Now, fighting nothing's ever all equal in all areas or whatever. But it's like, yeah, I got plays 100. 25 pounders would beat up most guys, most 200-pound guys, right? But not, but they can't. 3 of them can't take me down. Like,
Right. Now, speaking of taking you down, we had a mutual friend on earlier in the week, Sean Merriman, and I did bring up last year, when you were attacked, and we talked about that. But he said that something happened earlier where it almost looked like a fight, only you two were clowning around. But people wanted to break it up, but they're like, that's Sean Merriman and Chuck Liddell. I'm not getting involved. Talk about that.
Oh yeah, no. I people are like, why didn't you film that? Because I was just messing with Sean.
Right.
I wasn't thinking about it because I didn't film. And I came up behind him, standing there, my body checked. Sorry. Like, I mean, we trained together, so we're friends. So he turned on. Suck. All right, man. Whatever, man. I gave him, it took him a second to calm down. I'm like, what are you doing? I mean, she's like, oh, that sucked. All right, man. All right. It was funny. I like, oh. Well, by the way,
at least the one, last year, I just figured common sense that Sean. But the look that I saw on Pat McAfee's face, who was standing right there, like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Was kind of cool and funny to watch.
Oh, yeah, no. Because no one knew what was going on. Because I checked some hard. Like, I mean, you have to know someone to check it that hard. Like, when the other guys that I don't know, but I do have to start laughing, those will be like really pissed off.
So a few weeks ago, I was in the back of the Hard Rock Casino with these gentlemen. I brought some pizza from my restaurant for Russell Peters. And in conversation, he demonstrated with my chef coat on a gi move where he put his knuckles in the right position and cut off the blood in my neck. And I was like, man, I didn't know Russell Peters.
Yeah, Russell's, as you know.
And so Russell, he's like, yeah, you trained with Chuck. He's like, oh, yeah, that's awesome.
No, he's over there with Jean-Jacques.
Yeah. What I should say,
he lived up the street from me for a while. He moved now, but he lived up the street.
Good dude.
Funny, no fighting.
Yeah.
Boxing, jiu-jitsu. Yeah.
Somebody else who's very funny, Larry the Cable Guy, and I know I texted you while we were backstage. So there's a photo, and I posted it. It's Larry the Cable Guy and myself about 4 feet away from each other on our phones. Now, you would think we'd be talking, right? Well, no, we're both looking for our photo with you. He's like, let me show you this photo with Chuck. And I'm like, well, I got a photo with Chuck too. That's what that photo was, is of us trying to find our photos with you. Just talk about your life and how everybody, every celebrity, every normal person, every common person, it's Chuck Liddell.
I don't know, man. I got to do a lot of crazy, fun stuff. I never thought I love my favorite show. I'm watching my favorite show at the time. Gonna be on The Simpsons. I got to play character on that. Actually, the coolest thing when I was on The Simpsons, I only had like one line, right? So I went there to film my line. And I was there like, hey, they're doing a table read right now. You want to go check it out? So I went over to go do a table read, watch them do a table read. And Hank is there. They do it in their voices, right? Like read it for the first time when they get to the script. They can make sure they like it or whatever. They do it in their voices. And he does the bar, right? And there's he does 3 or 4 of the guys in the bar, right?
Yep.
So he sat there and he had a conversation with himself.
Wow.
Like he was going back and forth to different voices without missing a beat. It was awesome.
Wow.
And that was the coolest thing I was watching. But is he really he didn't miss the beat?
So Randy, you know who does not have a picture with Chuck Liddell?
Our security.
No, I
Head of security.
don't have a picture with Chuck Liddell. You know why I don't have a picture with Chuck Liddell? Because at the Triller fight in Atlanta, the Jake Paul Ben Askren fight, we were in the suite. We were with the family, with Logan and Sugar Sean. And out of my respect to Randy, I didn't want to be a fan and take a photo with you. But I was dying inside. I'm like, it's Chuck, the Iceman Liddell.
I've put these rules in, which I do.
So out of respect, I didn't want to be on the fan side of things. I wanted to be on the Iceman side of things, the cool side of things.
Speaking of the cool side of things, how cool is it when people find out, you're this bad dude, the Mohawk, this, that you are one of the coolest, down to earth,
I always say it's one of those things that for me works great for me a lot of times. So I'll meet somebody.
People stay away from it.
I'll meet somebody and they'll tell my friend, like, hey man, what did you do? You can't talk about how nice you are. I'm like, I said hi. I introduced myself. I don't know. I didn't do anything else. But I didn't expect you to be such a mean or just an ass.
Right.
That I show up and I'm just normal, and they're like,
Right.
man, he was so nice.
Right.
Like, I don't have to do anything. Hey, he was cool.
Well, but that was the stigma, when MMA first started. It's like, these aren't normal people. These guys, and we've gone through the cockfighting and all that kind of stuff. And no, they're just normal people and really down to earth athletes that just fight for a living. Sort of.
Sure, yeah.
Well,
Sort of. Some of us.
Yeah, that's why I said
I think the more violent the sport, the more humble the human. And it seems to be that way with hockey players and UFC fighters and anybody that's in that arena. There's a respect for what they do, right, with the other competitors.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, you're definitely. I mean, we don't have anything to prove.
Yeah.
See, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I can tell you know what I'm talking about. That's it, but used to ask, like, you walk a bar like size guys. I'm like, why? They come in a fight, we fight. So, so whether or not they keep their ass hot, I don't care. So, the people, it's like, I don't know. Funny, Brad Pitt, he said it really well. So, it's like that answer, like, hey man, I don't know where to get your ass. Keep the shit. But it's I don't care. I don't want to fight.
Right.
I always tell people, the way I used to get with people if I piss on them, I meet someone new, I can start talking about something I'm excited about. I start getting animated.
Yeah.
Talking about it. They're like, I'm like, oh man, come on. If I answer your mom's ass, that's well, because I'm like, really, if I'm the last guy, if I throw a player, I'm the last guy to make that choice. Like, that's the last choice I want to make.
Who was it that they got in the bar altercations that I'm going to kick your ass? You're like, you're probably right.
No, Ken Shamrock said that. Somebody came up to Ken Shamrock in a bar, and he was trying to pick a fight, and he goes, I could kick your ass. He goes, yeah, you're probably right. He goes, let's go outside. He goes, how about if I just buy you beer instead? And what Ken said is, if I go outside, one of two things are going to happen. I'm going to kick your ass, and I'm going to go to jail. Or you're going to kick my ass, and now you're a legend, and I'm Ken Shamrock that got beat by the bar guy.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of the same
There's
thing.
a bottle of beer, and then right there.
It's a no-win situation.
I don't have that. I typically don't have people come up and do that. I haven't. I've been like,
Well, Ken doesn't have a mohawk.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm not doing it.
Are you going to the game on Sunday, and what are your thoughts on the game?
I'm not going. I'm planning to go to one of my friends' house. But is it a hope you have for the game?
Right.
It's like my Green Bay makes it. James takes care of it. I don't want to ask if that's
In either one of these games.
I mean, usually I was a big Eagles. I was always giving them a hard time. Some of my best friends are Eagles fans, so I was giving them a hard time. I usually cheer. I didn't see playing Eagles, but
Thoughts on Aaron Rodgers? What do you think is going to happen with him? And AJ Hawk is still running around here, so we could try to grab him so you can say hi to him. Do you know him?
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. All right. Thoughts on Aaron Rodgers?
I don't know. He's going to do what he wants to do. If he wants, he wants to.
He's not walking away. He's going to play. It's like $50-some million.
Right. Where he's going to play.
Right.
Where he's going to play.
Right.
I'm not saying he's not going to play.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I was kind of shocked this last year. I kind of let some people go. If he was going to stick, you're making a choice. If you're going to stick around, stick with Aaron. You might want to leave some.
Right.
Leave some tools for him to work with.
Right. Your elite receiver.
And not one of his tools. You want to make a real shot at it, or rebuild it. You want to rebuilding stage of the guy who's last 2 years of playing. So
Right.
That makes sense. So I mean, there's a couple of teams could pick him up.
Well, the Bucs need a quarterback with Tom Brady retiring, and I don't know if you saw this story. So Tom Brady posted when he retired, and somebody figured out by the buildings behind him where he retired. He went to that beach, scooped up some of the sand, and sold it for over $90,000. Right? Now, people are ripping the person who did it, and other people are like, no, he's a genius. He just made $90,000. He went to a beach and swooped up some sand.
He made somebody happy. Somebody was happy to pay $90,000.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm mad at you.
No.
It's still anyway.
What's crazy to you and me may not be crazy to somebody else.
So I'm happy they have the 90 grand to pay for it.
So along the lines of memorabilia, like what is your prized possession that you have, or is there anything that you collect that you love, like it's sentimental to you that you'll never let go of?
I got one thing that's kind of funny. I do really. You got your belts in your closet, and you got your daughter's trophy, soccer trophies up. I'm like, what's wrong with you?
Right. Right.
That means more to me. I know what I did. I did it. I said I still my belts are restored.
Wow.
If you could get any piece of memorabilia, is one piece of something you've always wanted, whether it's from the music side or.
Well, I don't even know. Like I've never been a collector.
Right.
Yeah, probably like I think my picture, like it's not audio pictures, like I just bought a picture like Penguin. I had like Climb of the Sword. I was painting out for like I was a huge Dodger fan growing up. My dad was a Dodger fan. So,
I got a Brad. Since I think I can say this now, I at least I hope so. So I went out to see Brad one time, and I hope I don't get him in trouble. This could be bad. I better tell you off the air.
No, just do it.
No, I better no, I better do it off the air. I better do it off the air. So there was an NFL player, based the same thing. So I don't collect anything. There's nothing that I want. And I go, no, Leonard, you have to come up with something. What is that one thing? He's a big religious guy, and he retired. He went through the ministry, and he's now a preacher. So he thought for a minute, and he goes, you know what? Jesus Christ sandals. Right?
Wow. Yeah, hey, well, that,
Right? I'm like,
forced to make a decision. Hey,
You win.
hands down, I'm like, that's the best.
Well, and yesterday we had maybe an equal to that. Henry Cejudo, and he talked about going for his fourth.
Well, hold on 1 second. Let's do it this way. Where did Iceman come from?
Yeah.
Who gave you the Iceman nickname?
After
All right, now go to
So
the
we all talk about.
so I made.
yourself a nickname.
Let me throw that out and then you can finish. So, we started talking. He goes by Triple C, and now if he wins the belt, then he's going to change it. And I said, you can't give yourself a nickname. It has to be given to you.
Okay. And so he goes, my credentials gave me my nickname. But his actions, his success,
We thought it
gave
was
him
pretty
his own
good.
nickname, which is amazing. So if he wins in May, which is slotted for, he's going to go by C4. It's going to be explosive.
all right. Well, hey, look, let me get a sponsorship.
Yeah.
The other thing, real quick, I tell the story all the time when we went to lunch in LA, and I start telling the story about Daughtry and my stillborn grandson, and I start to tear up. And Chuck Liddell turns over and like, what the hell's going on over here? You remember when we went to lunch and I started to tear up, and it's kind of funny, you're telling this story, and then because I always tear up on it. I said, one of the baddest men on the planet. It's like, what the hell's wrong with you? What's going on? And then I felt like an idiot because I'm crying in front of Chuck Liddell.
It's all right.
It was just weird.
I'm like, wait, we were having a good time. We were just talking about what happened. Like, is everyone right? Is everyone okay? Like, where are we at? Where'd this go? We're Cyprus. Where we going?
It definitely went bad, Rob, real quick.
It's just an honor to have you here, man. It's an honor to be a part of it. In fact, if you notice, I didn't even slip my little spiel out of respect. You're the real deal, man. It's an honor to know you. I will get a photo today before you leave.
Hold on a second. Are you asking Chuck first, or are you telling Chuck you're going to get a photo?
I can't leave
Well,
Phoenix without
I
a
understand,
photo.
but you need to ask. You can't
Please.
say, I'm getting.
It would be the greatest honor, man. Honestly.
Chuck, thank you very much as always. Thank you for coming
man.
out of your way to hang out. It means a great deal. Second year in a row out of your way, and at least I'm not getting killed. We got you in.
Perfect.
And it's dead here. There's not a whole lot going on. We have a photo, and I don't know if I told you this. We have a photo, and this is what's always been cool to me. You know how long we've been in MMA, and I helped Bush. I helped. I had Matt Hughes' belt. Last year, Joe Montana stopped and watched as you and I talked on Radio Row, and it's not because of me. It was because Chuck Liddell was here, and it's the MMA, and we're getting closer, and we all think we're there. We're not, but we're getting there.
It's funny. I was thinking one of the surreal things. I was thinking of the weird things that happened. I was having a talk with Joe Montana and Steve Young in the back of my autograph signing thing in 2007, 2008 about being an Asian athlete. We're just going back and forth, different outfits, different, older, training harder, training different, smarter, hard. Going out having that conversation, and I'm sitting there going, I'm really having this conversation right now. It's Joe Montana and Steve Young. Yeah. All right, cool.
Have you seen the commercial with him?
Oh,
it's the best. He's sitting in a bar, and a young 20-something-year-old, they start talking, and he goes, I don't remember exactly, but he turns to Joe Montana and goes, so are you an athlete? And Joe's like, yeah. He goes, tennis player, huh? And Montana goes, right, kid. It was funny. It's Joe Montana.
Well, you saw he had a break-in. He had a break-in in his house, and he tackled the guy and didn't shoot the right. They're trying, so it's always good to see those guys.
Again, I know you got things to do and people to meet up. Again, thank you very much. I'll promise not to call you for at least 2 days.
Purpose.
All right, let's hit a break, and we will be right
That is
back.
the Chuck Liddell, the Iceman. This is Knockout Radio coming live from Media Row.